A milestone for Liberia as the last Ebola patient heads home. In our Music Makers segment, world music with the flavor of the Maghreb. And YouTube's campaign for International Women's Day lights up social media. Africa 54 starts right now.
Good evening, I'm Vincent McCory. This is Africa 54. Tonight, Liberia is enjoying some good news in the fight against Ebola. The West African nation held a special ceremony Thursday, marking the country's last Ebola patient to be released from a treatment center. Beatrice Diardolo, a 58-year-old teacher who lost 3 children to the disease, says she is happy to be alive and happy to be going home. Liberia, Sierra Leone and Guinea have been hardest hit by the Ebola virus, which has killed nearly 10,000 people, mostly in Western Africa. Now, because of the size and the seriousness of the Ebola outbreak, VOA and BBC are collaborating in order to give audiences in Africa and around the world access to the best information and content available. This report tells us about the toll Ebola is taking on an orphanage in Sierra Leone. BBC's Clive Mary reports.
The Ebola virus has orphaned this child twice. These boys have lost 2 fathers. Indeed, all the children at this orphanage are double victims. Ebola killed their parents. Now it's claimed the life of the man who gave them shelter. Hello. On our visit, we had to be careful. The whole area is under quarantine. It was Augustine Baker who helped run the orphanage, offering a home to those many in society ignored. First rescuing street children, then when Ebola came along, providing a safe haven for orphans of the virus.
A child like 4 years, 5 years, 9 years, seeing ambulance coming to their homes, collecting the corpses of his or her mother is too much for that child.
But last week he collapsed at a staff meeting, and a few days later he was dead. Then his wife Bunda also passed away. Their 2 children, now orphans.
Now, because we are on quarantine for 21 days.
Marion Foster is one of the 7 staff here, and she told me everyone's temperatures are taken 3 times a day as a precaution. Everyone, she says, is frightened. They've been infected too.
There are almost 8,500 Ebola orphans here in Sierra Leone, but for the time being, for 21 days, this place is out of bounds. It's looked after hundreds of children since the crisis began, and the fervent hope is it will reopen soon.
As health workers assess the situation here, complete closure of the orphanage is unthinkable. That would be a terrible blow for the children given a chance to survive the Ebola crisis, and a blow for a society still struggling to beat the disease. Clive Myrie, BBC News in Sierra Leone.
Well, that was BBC's Clive Myrie reporting. The latest rounds of Libyan peace talks resumed Friday in Morocco, with UN officials hoping to get the 2 rival governments talking to each other. After the first day of discussions, the UN envoy for Libya said a peace deal is possible between warring factions in the North African nation.
I have met most of the delegations and most of the actors and stakeholders. So far I can tell you that there is a sense of, if not optimism, at least a sense that it is possible to make a deal. And this is something very important because in the last months this was not the case.
In 3 previous rounds of talks, the 2 sides did not meet face to face. A delegate at the talks also said he sensed a desire by the participants to make the necessary decisions to move toward a unified government.
The delegates are here to find a radical solution. There is a desire to form a national unity government.
Do you think this dialogue will end with the naming of a new head of a national unity government?
Yes, I expect that.
The talks are taking place as Libya seeks to have the UN Security Council ease or lift the arms embargo to allow it to meet the growing threat from Islamic militants who have already seized major oil fields. Libya has been increasingly unstable since longtime dictator Muammar Gaddafi was overthrown and killed in 2011. Well, talks to end 15 months of conflict in South Sudan collapsed Friday in Addis Ababa, just one day after a UN Security Council deadline to reach a peace deal expired. The Intergovernmental Authority on Development, the East African bloc mediating the talks, will now have to decide the way forward after South Sudanese President Salva Kiir and rebel leader Riek Machar walked away from the negotiating table because of their failure to reach a comprehensive deal. By March the 5th, the UN Security Council can now impose travel and financial sanctions on individuals seen as obstructing the peace process. While African economic power Nigeria is suffering a gasoline shortage due to the country's inability to import and distribute refined fuels following a drop in oil price. Coming just weeks before the March 28th presidential election, the shortage could have a big impact on the campaign. Henry Ridgewell has our report.
In Abuja, the lines of cars waiting for gas are growing longer. Acute fuel shortages are gripping towns and cities across the country. Workers reliant on their cars are losing money fast.
I work at the airport as a car hire. Now I'm supposed to be at the airport now, but there's no way for me, no fuel for me to go and look for something to do.
Nigeria is one of the world's top crude oil exporters, shipping around 2 million barrels per day. But it does not have the refinery capacity to meet fuel demand, so it relies on imports. That makes it vulnerable to a turbulent market, says Virginia Komoli of the International Institute for Strategic Studies.
Although Nigeria has tried over the past few years to diversify its economy, 80% of government revenues are still dependent on the oil industry.
The falling oil price has hit the Naira currency, and traders say government fuel subsidies are not being paid. Seplat Petroleum Development Company CEO Austin Avuru is calling for the government to boost domestic refining capacity.
Then you find out that the boom and bust elements of changes in crude oil prices, we have much more negligible impact on our GDP growth than you have it today. And I think that's our countries should be moving in terms of how they manage their natural resources.
Nigerian Aviation Minister Osita Benjamin Chidoka told VOA the low oil price is having a big impact on the economy.
One of our major foreign currency earners is oil, but it's also an opportunity for Nigeria. It creates an opportunity that, luckily for us, our president has committed to improving agriculture over the past few years. Diversifying the economy, removing the subsidies that are kind of fueling a dependency culture.
The timing is difficult for President Goodluck Jonathan, just weeks before elections that have already been postponed once due to fears over security. But it is not only Nigeria that is suffering, says Virginia Komoli.
Other regional countries that export their goods into Nigeria, will suffer from a reduction in demand from the Nigerian market.
Analysts warn continued low oil prices have the potential to cause unrest, as the government would be forced to cut back on public spending. Henry Ridgewell for VOA News, London.
We want to know what you think about Africa 54 on the stories we cover. Join the conversation on Facebook. The address is Africa 54, and check out our headlines 24/7 on voaafrica.com. While coming up, a fusion of jazz and world music with inspiration from the Maghreb. Stay with us.
I wanted to present music and a side of American culture that is most important to me, that is a part of who I am. They're going to get some incredible performances. That's one of the things I love, bringing these artists in so you can get to see them do what they do. It's soul music, and that's what music is. It's that which comes from the soul.
Welcome back to Africa 54. Now, interest in the American civil rights movement of the 1950s and 60s is surging, thanks in part to the Hollywood motion picture Selma. On Saturday, U.S. President Barack Obama will lead the nation in commemorating the 50th anniversary of Bloody Sunday, the day white police officers brutally attacked demonstrators in Selma, Alabama. VOA's Chris Simpkins tells us more about the renewed interest in the civil rights era.
To be detrimental to your safety to continue this march.
The images of police beating back peaceful voting rights protesters put the spotlight on Selma, Alabama in March 1965. Days after Bloody Sunday, Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. led thousands in a historic voting rights march. Now, 5 decades later, these students come to the same location in Selma to learn about civil rights struggles and the people who were a part of the movement.
It's just a real good feeling that thanks to our ancestors that we had the right to vote and do multiple other things.
The confrontation on the Edmund Pettus Bridge exposed a facade of white supremacy, discrimination, and the plight of millions of African Americans who were denied voting rights in parts of the South.
And we must let the world know that it is necessary to protest this threefold evil. The problem of the denial of the right to vote, to police brutality.
During the past decade, Southern communities once ashamed of their past are now embracing it with hopes of attracting more tourists to civil rights battlegrounds. Lee Sintel is Alabama's tourism director.
Our job is to make sure that people learn about the story beyond just the fact that Martin Luther King made a lot of great speeches, because there were ordinary people who had a lot to lose, whether their jobs or their lives, and they demonstrated to make change come to the South and the country and the world.
After they were beaten back on Bloody Sunday, they called me and I went over that same night.
Attorney Fred Gray and his wife founded this small museum in Tuskegee in 1997. Now it's one of several in Alabama, providing people with unique insights into the fight against racial discrimination. He hopes the state will establish and maintain more civil rights landmarks.
The state of Alabama, and particularly the Department of Tourism, now recognize the fact that civil rights is an engine for economic growth and development. They see that people are interested and that we need to preserve that history. And by preserving it and by people coming in, it generates tourism.
At least 200,000 people visit civil rights attractions in Birmingham each year. Mayor William Bell.
I think by looking at our civil rights history and attracting people to come in and see not only the way we were, but the way we are and the way we want to be, will give us the financial support to really make sure that our cities grow and prosper.
Across the South, communities are putting up historical markers, building museums, and fixing up churches significant to the movement. Melissa Gray brought her family to Selma.
Well, I think if we don't understand our history, we may definitely repeat our history. And it's so important for our children who don't have to deal with the struggles that my predecessors and siblings and my parents had to deal with.
55,000, only 240 only vote. That is so bad.
People in Selma are embracing an increase in civil rights tourism. They hope it will help this struggling economy by providing jobs and helping the city. Chris Simpkins, VOA News, Selma, Alabama.
Welcome back. It's Music Makers Friday, and today we want to introduce you to the sounds of a Moroccan musician, Aziz Samawi from the Maghreb, here to tell us all about this guy. Is Heather Maxwell, host of Music Time in Africa.
Yes.
You actually had the good fortune of meeting this guy.
Yeah, he's really a very poetic person. When you speak to him, you wonder if he's actually singing a song because he's so poetic. You can't really get a straight answer out of the guy, but he's super talented and very nice and just a lovely person.
Okay. Did he tell you what he's singing about and
this
what
song,
you're just about to watch?
Yeah, this song is about community.
Yeah.
And it's about how when you start a community, it's easy, you share, everything's lovely, but as soon as wealth and happiness sets in, also problems set in.
Yeah.
But he says, stay optimistic, keep planting trees in your community, meaning it's a metaphor for hope.
to be so literal in this desert terrain.
Exactly.
Let's enjoy this video.
Okay.
By Aziz.
هذا جارنا في جنان زرع خوخة بيرنا يرويها وكل لحومة تعنا بعمرها يا سيدي وتزيد نعومة كتر من دا فرحانة بشجر ملمومة الخوخة كبرت وكبرت اللومة على عمول الدار في عالم سمومة الدمار الدمق وناس مظلومة باردة باردة وشكون يحميها الخوخ طاب وزاد روايح معدومة والناس بالفاس وبالجنان مغرومة شكون يفك صراح الأرض المحرومة لا أنصار ولا أمريكان غير حنا وانتوما فرقت سود فرق سياسة مشحومة وصعيبة صعيبة والطريقة اليوم هيلي ودادة ومالي والمحكومة محكومة ملزومة في ملايفها مرشومة غدا تكون عندي شجرة نديها للصحراء غدا تكون عندي شجرة نغرسها في الصحراء غدا تكون عندي شجرة نديها للصحراء غدا تكون عندي شجرة نغرسها في الصحراء بقاعات جنينتنا موضوع خصومة بين قبايل ضحات مقسومة عنادك طول وطال والله حشومة وحنا حباب حنا واحد
Aziz Samawi, very, very good, very soulful. You actually got to walk on those sand dunes, didn't you, a while ago?
Yes, I was there. At the time of the shooting of this video, I was there.
Oh, really?
I know the filmmakers. We were all together.
Yeah.
So they just, I was at a festival there for a conference, and the festival was right there.
Right there
and
where
so
this was shot?
Yeah, in Hamid in southern Morocco.
This is beautiful. And the music kind of gives you that feel of the desert landscape and the people of the desert area.
Yes,
the Sahara
definitely.
Desert. Sounds so good.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Anyway, you know, it's always good to get this very authentic traditional music, which is still very fresh.
Yeah.
The way it is.
Yes.
Thanks a lot, Heather, for sharing with us.
Thank you.
And hopefully next time you take me along.
Okay.
Please. Well, once again, I want to thank you, Heather, for another very, very good Music Makers segment. And to learn more about the talented Heather Maxwell herself and her VOA radio show, visit Facebook and type in the keywords Music Time in Africa. There you can see what time her program can be heard in your area and get more information about some of our featured artists. Well, it's time now for a short break. Still to come on Africa 54. YouTube commemorates International Women's Day with a viral empowerment campaign. We'll be right back.
So the grandchild I was taking care of when I was in.
Julie Price. As we're running out of time.
Welcome back to Africa 54. Here's what's trending. If you could give your younger self advice, what would you say?
Great. Dear Lindsay. Dear Lily. Dear Bunny from long, long ago.
Well, ahead of International Women's Day, YouTube launched the Dear Me Global Campaign Initiative to inspire and empower girls everywhere to be confident and pursue their dreams. If you're interested in participating, the Dear Me letter must take the form of a video that can be turned into a GIF on a Tumblr website and shared across social networks, and especially with the young women and men in your lives. Search the hashtag Dear Me on Twitter to see the entries. Well, in other social media news, getting a picture like this is a dream of a lifetime for shutterbugs everywhere. Well, this remarkable picture of a weasel riding on the back of a woodpecker made headlines all over the world. And yes, it's 100% real. Amateur photographer Martin Limay was bird watching in an Essex park when he heard a loud screeching nearby and grabbed his camera. Limay shared the picture in a private Facebook group with some friends, one of whom posted one of the photographs on Twitter. Within a few hours, the photo became an internet sensation with the hashtag WeaselPecker trending worldwide. Well, and finally, let the countdown begin.
People will look to the sky and see hope. I'll take that from them first.
Avengers: Age of Ultron saw its third full trailer released online this week as anticipation over the second installment of the hugely popular superhero series builds. In the trailer, the villainous Ultron is seen bringing his robot forces together to battle the team of Marvel's biggest-selling superheroes, including Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor. Avengers: Age of Ultron launches at the end of April. And that is what is trending today. Now, a new wintry blast of snow and ice swept across more than 20 states across the United States, Midwest and Mid-Atlantic regions. Tired of shoveling snow, breaking ice, dealing with accidents and airline flight delays, most Americans hope this is Mother Nature's last winter. Hooray! Well, VOA's Latza Hoke reports.
A new snowstorm closed federal government offices and schools in the nation's capital and other areas from Texas to New England Thursday. Children and grown-ups in Washington used the day off to enjoy winter sports, but some parts of the city were off-limits for this kind of fun.
Hey, good afternoon. How you doing, sir? Good. Now, the Capitol regulations have stated that there's no sledding or skiing on Capitol grounds for life, safety, and property damage issues.
The Capitol Police said we can't go sledding here, so which we'd like to do, but now, unfortunately, we're kind of... Yeah.
Snow is not all fun. Poor road conditions led to a series of accidents and left some vehicles stranded on the road. Nearly 4,000 flights were cancelled on Thursday, and a Delta jet skidded off a runway and crashed through a fence as it landed at New York's LaGuardia Airport.
Aircraft was carrying 127 passengers and 5 crew members. Happily, there are only minor injuries that have been reported. At this point, we believe 2 passengers have been transported to hospitals. That number may change.
The unusually long winter season has caused losses for businesses that had to close due to the weather conditions, but hardware stores that sold salt and shovels were doing well.
I've been in business about 40 years. I've never been this busy in the middle of winter.
Some will be making more money after the snow is gone, when property owners have to repair damages caused by the heavy snow accumulations on roofs, decks, and vehicles.
As much as I don't like the ice or snow any more than anybody else, it does help our business.
Many Americans feared the worst is yet to come when warmer temperatures melt the snow and cause flooding. Floods have already begun in some places.
Yeah, tonight's probably going to get a lot worse.
Weather forecasters say this is winter's last blast for this season. More spring-like weather is expected next week. Zlarica Hoke, VOA News, Washington.
Well, it's time for our Friday Sports Reporter, and here's the always exciting Sonny Young with the sunny side of sports. Hello, Sonny.
Hello, Vincent, and sporty greetings once again to our Africa 54 viewers. South Africa's coastal city of Durban is hoping to deliver Africa's first Commonwealth Games in 2022. South African singers, dancers, and drummers added a festive and musical atmosphere to the ceremony in London, where Durban officially submitted its bid to the Commonwealth Games Federation. The Canadian city of Edmonton withdrew its Commonwealth Games bid last month, leaving Durban as the only candidate. One of the athletes South Africa sent to London for the bid ceremony was Olympic champion swimmer Cameron Vanderberg.
I think a lot of people, shall we say, see Africa still as an emerging economy, emerging country, but we really have a lot to offer, and I think that we really proved that in 2010 with the World Cup. We did such a great job, and if we can host the 2022 Commonwealth Games, it's the first step in trying to host something like the Olympic Games, which obviously is very close to my heart, and I think will benefit for all the athletes who come in South Africa.
The Commonwealth Games Federation is scheduled to announce the 2022 host in about 6 months. Federation President Prince Imran says the Games can be a big boost for African sport.
I hope that it is going to be a Games which everyone will embrace as a first Games for Africa and a legacy of not only South Africa, but Africa really continuing to bid for and even host successful future whatever games it is, and just a catalyst for African sport.
The Indian Ocean city of Durban is certainly a catalyst for tourism and business. It's famous for being the busiest port in South Africa and Africa. Durban also has hosted matches at several big sports events, including the 1995 Rugby World Cup, the 2003 Cricket World Cup, and most recently, the 2010 Football World Cup. Now Durban is vying to be the first African city to stage the Commonwealth Games. I'm VOA's Sonny Young, and that's the sunny side of sports. Vincent?
Well, thanks a lot, Sonny. Be sure to check out the sunny side of sports every Monday and Friday right here on Africa 54. And that's our show for today. Be sure to watch Africa 54 on our website at voaafrica.com for more news. Tune in to VOA's evening radio show, Africa News Tonight at 1800 UTC, and in the mornings to Daybreak Africa between 0300 and 0600 UTC, Monday through Friday. Thanks a lot for watching from all of us here in Washington. Have a good night.
Music is something that brings people together.
Music educates, it motivates, it's a bridge.
Music. Ali.
On. VOA.
qubanaha VOA waxaan ku soo gudbinnaa qubanayaal goosgoos oo xiiso badan oo ku saabsan arrimaha Soomaaliya, Mareykanka iyo caalamkaba.
haddaba qubanaha VOA-da kala soco website-keena voasomali.com.
From VOA Learning English, this is the Technology Report.
I'm Milar Sega. I'm the host of VOA's The Correspondents.
A roundup of the world's top stories.
Here's a false choice in more ways than one.
We can't actually put you there, but we can come pretty close. In 30 minutes, we'll show you the world.